Okay, hi everybody. I'm Mohammed Dawi. I'm Premier Field Engineer from Microsoft Egypt. I'm happy today to be with you in this GPS MIA webcast series. I think maybe some of you already attended some of our sessions before. And today our topics will be integrating Exchange 2013 with Lync 2013. I hope that this topic will be interesting for you and you find it useful in your development. First of all, I would like to share with you this website. I'm sure that most of you already visited before because you already registered and attending today. The next session, it will be, if you can see this shared website, it will be cluster aware update, automated software updating process on failover cluster service, and it will be 15th May, 2 p.m. GMT plus 2 time. I hope if you can register before enough time, just to make sure that everything is running well. Okay, now I'm sharing the first slide in today PowerPoint slide. So if you can see it, please open your one-to-one chat and tell me if you can see this, the first PPT slide. Okay, great. So, as told you, my name is Mohammed Dawi. This is my email address at dawi@microsoft.com. If you have questions regarding today's session, if I didn't answer, you please send your question to my email and I will try to answer you as soon as possible. Also, later, if you have questions regarding Exchange or Lync, feel free to contact me and send me email and I will try to answer ASAP. So the topic of today is integrating Microsoft Lync Server 2013 with Exchange Server 2013. And why I picked this topic for you today? Because I'm, as you know, as a PFE, I'm doing many technical engagements with customers in the level of enterprise customers or even mid-sized business. And the problem that I see many of customers, they are not aware with the integration options available. Most of them have Lync and Exchange server side by side, but they are not integrating both of these technologies in a right way, or even they are not aware with the features now available with the new recent versions of Exchange and Lync. So we'll focus today on the new features available in Exchange 2013 and Lync 2013 in terms of integration between the two products. So today's agenda, it will be first introduction, why we need to integrate Lync and Exchange server better together. And second, the integration features that is available now in Exchange 2013. A prerequisite for integration, what you need to be ready before you start integration, prerequisites. And some of the features that we will talk about today is, first one is configuring partner applications in Lync Server 2013 and Exchange. Also configuring what we call the archiving, unified contact store, high resolution photos in Microsoft Lync Server 2013, and integrating Lync and the Microsoft Outlook web app in Exchange 2013. Okay, so the fact here today is you don't need to have Exchange if you have Lync server and vice versa. In many organizations, they have only Exchange server up and running, but they don't have Lync server in place. They may use any other technology or other vendor supporting them using IM or enterprise voice solution. And also, you don't need to have exception server if you wanted to install Lync servers, but you may have Lync in your environment, but you don't have exception server. You may have other mailing systems. But as you know that it's a Microsoft product, both are Microsoft Product Exchange and Lync, integrating them together will give you some features and options. They will not be available if you have only one of these products installed in your environments. So I'm not selling here products, but I'm telling you that you may miss many features that may be useful and you maybe it's important in your business or in your environments. So you may, if you don't have one of these applications, you may start considering installing these apps to get these features and benefits. And that's why we delivering this session today. Actually, integration between Exchange and Lync is not a new topic. It's there since Exchange 2010 and Lync 2010. But the integration was very limited. We have only few options, like unified messaging, voicemail. You can integrate Lync to route voicemail to your Exchange unified messaging server. And as a user, you can receive unified messaging emails, and it will be attached with a voicemail you just received, and you can listen to your voicemail from your mailbox. And this integration, it could be done between Exchange 2010 and Lync 2010. Also, IM and presence integration in OWA. As you know, if you have Lync and Outlook installed in your machine and you open Outlook while you are already signed in your Lync using Lync clients, you can see, for example, if you receive the email from someone, you can see his presence status, like he's available right now, busy, don't disturb, or whatever. So from the received message, you can see a presence for the recipients or in your message, and you can start immediately an IM conversation or Lync meeting directive from Outlook. It will call the Lync clients from your machine and establish an IM conversation directly with this user. Also in OWA, if you have only OWA or you're accessing your Mac through OWA from anywhere, you may need, and you don't have a Lync client installed on your machine, and you still need to do an IM conversation with someone from your company. Either you can open OWA, and from there you can sign into your IM conversations, and you can see the presence for your contact lists, and you can start an IM conversation directly, of course with some limitations, but you can at least open an IM conversation with someone and you can start chat even if this is no Lync client installed on your machine. And this is what we call IM and presence integration in OWA. These two features still available in Lync 2013 and Exchange 2013, plus some new features which is not available in the previous versions, and also you may need to have Lync 2013 clients as well in order to use these features. The first one is Lync archiving integration. The second one is unified contact store and Lync meeting schedule from OWA, and high resolution photos. Okay, so before using or starting configuring and listening on how to configure these features and how to configure Exchange and Lync to work together, some prerequisites you should make sure that it's already available or it's already configured before you start the next step. So first thing you need to make sure is the open authentication certificates in place. And open authentication, it's a new standard, it's an open standard that Microsoft uses currently in the recent products and also with O365 to make applications trust each other, so you can do server-to-server authentication easily. So a user, for example, from Lync, he can access some information from his email box from Exchange, but using his Lync service, or Lync server will do it on behalf of the user. So to make sure that all other options and features that we are going to talk about today is available and ready for use, you need to make sure that Open Authentication or OAuth is configured properly and working well. Okay, so Open Authentication actually involves 3 parties, and this is, as I told you, it's an open standard. It's not a Microsoft standard, but we use it in with some, of course, additives in Microsoft projects. Actually, currently we are using it with Lync, Exchange, and SharePoint, and O365 as well. So 2 parties that need to communicate. Authorization server, this is a third party, authorization server issuing token. And server A will communicate with, you wanted to communicate with server B. Server A will obtain a security token from the authorization server, but we call it a third party here. And server A presents this security token for server B. And server B should go through the same process, and then it will be an established session, secure session, and authorized between these 2 applications. Okay, so in order to get these options, you need to make sure that server-to-server encryption to communicate with Exchange Server 2013 is configured properly. Okay, so if you have Lync, today we will talk about Lync on-prem and Exchange on-prem. So if you have Lync on-prem and Exchange on-prem, you don't need that third party. Only Lync and Exchange can do all authentication with no need for a third party or third server to do the authorization process. So servers can issue their own token, and the communication partners configured as Exchange and Lync. So what we'll do today is to configure Lync server as an application partner for Exchange and vice versa. And by this method, or by these techniques, we are allowing both of the servers to issue a token, and they will be able to use this token to secure the communication and authorization between them. Okay, so as you see in this slide, you may have Lync server in on-prem, Exchange on-prem, and SharePoint on-prem. Also, you may have hybrid configuration, like you have some of your users hosted locally, and you have O365 integrated with your on-prem, and you host some of your services on the cloud. Authentication will simplify the authentication process between all of these servers, and will make communication and using these features more easy and possible. So from that Lync server side, to start the authentication process with or connection with other servers, you need to issue a certificate for this purpose. So from that, if you deploy the Lync server before, or you engage in any Lync deployment, of course you are familiar with this window. This is where when you start the deployment wizard for Lync server 2013, you need to generate a certificate or request a certificate from your local CTA, or you may use a third-party certificate. As you see that we have here 2 certificates. One is the default certificates that you can use for all of your services, web services. And the second one is authentication certificates. So you can request the certificate from your CA, and if you have local CA, and you can use it simply. Okay, the fact also here that you can use the server default certificate as authentication certificate. It's not a big deal. You can use it, or you can issue a dedicated certificate for this purpose from your local CA. But still, this is an option. If you need, you can use the default certificate as authentication certificate. This is for a Lync server side, and for the Exchange server side, by default, when you install Exchange server, the backend server will generate a self-assigned certificate for authentication. Just to make sure and double check, you can run git-auth or config from your Exchange PowerShell. By running this command, it will show you if the authentication configuration, or you have a certificate for this or not. Otherwise, you need to use set-auth configuration to assign a certificate for your Microsoft Exchange backend server to be ready for authentication. In some companies, may export that certificate from Lync server and import it inside the Exchange, or you can use the self-signed one. Both are valid solutions. But you need to double check only get-authentication certificate. But by default, Exchange will generate a self-signed one for this purpose. The second step is to make sure that auto-discover service for Exchange is ready, and you need to configure your Lync server to, or you point your Lync server to use this auto-discover service. This is important to make the Lync capable to contact Exchange server auto-discover services and get user informations from these services. So you need first to make sure that this service is configured properly from the Exchange server side. You can use the command like here, get-client access server. This is to show you if the auto-discover service internal URI is configured properly or not. In some organizations, I saw it, they leave it as default configuration, which is the front-end server name. Actually, what we need to do here is to change this auto-discover service internal URI. If you didn't do it, you need to change it, and so the value of your auto-discover.letware Inc., for example, and this should resolve to if you have two servers and load balancing in place. This auto-discover record should point to the virtual IB for your load balancing. So what you need to do from Exchange first is to make sure that auto-discover service is configured properly. So you need to change that auto-discover service internal URI and use the auto-discover A record to point it to your virtual IB for your load balancer. Okay, and you should configure this even if you are not going to integrate Lync with Exchange, actually. And this step is important for Exchange to make the auto-discover service high available for your users. The second part, we will do it from the Lync server. As you know, if you see a command, let's start with CS. So it does mean that I will run this from the Lync server PowerShell. So configuring the client access server, we'll do it from the Exchange PowerShell, and configuring this, pointing the authentication configuration to use the Exchange auto-discover URI, you do it from the Lync PowerShell. So you open the PowerShell SIMD and open and run set-CSO auth configuration. -identity global. Actually, if you didn't even enter identity global, it will be the default value for it. But this is to make the full command for you. And -exchange auto-discover server URI HTS auto-discover letware, and you see that subdirectory is autodiscover.svc here. This step is very, very, very important to make the integration possible. So don't forget to make sure that Lync server is understanding where is the auto-discover service, and this is to make the authentication run properly. So, well, already we finished the part of the prerequisites, okay, and now we are going to configure Exchange as a partner application for Lync server and vice versa. And this is important also to continue the authentication process part. So first, you need to configure Lync to be a partner application for Exchange, and then we will run this command from Exchange server. Actually, this is a PowerShell script that you will find it in the Microsoft Exchange Server v15 scripts folder on your Exchange server. So you run this PowerShell using these parameters of metadata URL, and here you point to your Lync server front-end pool name plus metadata JSON /1. and application type dash application type link. And here you tell Exchange server that a new partner application that you should trust right now and you can use authentication with is, and you point here the location for this application and the type of application is link server. So this is what you need to do from the link server part. Sorry, from the Exchange server part. After you finish, you need to restart the IIS service on your Exchange servers, just to make this configuration taking effect. The same process we will do, but from the link server side. Also, tell Link that Exchange is a partner application you should trust, and this is the URL for the application. The command here is different. We use new-cs partner application -identity exchange -application trust level full metadata URL is HTTPS auto discover letware and blah blah, same like this. And once it's finished here, you can test. Okay, this if you configured everything properly, the certificates in place, and both of these applications are trusting each other, you can test it by using this command test-cs-ex storage connectivity -sib URI, and you can type here any sib URI for any of your client link clients, but make sure that this client also has a mailbox on Exchange 2013 servers. So this client should be enabled for link and has a mailbox on Exchange server. You can run this command. If it's run successfully, then you are 100% sure that you did everything before this step correctly. And you can move forward to the next configuration steps. So just remember to run this command. It's very important. So now we are going to configure different features that we may need to on Exchange between link and Exchange server. Just for the steps before these slides, it just was for preparing your environment, preparing Exchange to trust link and vice versa. And starting from now, from this point and forward, we will configure different options and features to be ready for your end users to use. The first option that we now have in Exchange 2013 and Link 2013 is you can use archiving. You can archive your IM conversations and web conference transcripts. Instead of storing this in the default method like in Exchange and Link 2010 and Link 2013, you can store this data or archive this data inside Exchange server mailboxes. You remember that the default way or the only available option in Link 2010 and Exchange 2010, if you wanted to archive conversations, you can enable archiving, but you store this data inside SQL Server databases. Same in Exchange Link 2013, you can store the IM conversations, web conference contents, handouts, who entered, who left the web conference or conversations. All of this information can be archived in SQL Server. The new option here that you can, instead of using SQL Server for storing this data, you can use the user's mailboxes to store this data inside. So you can offload some of your SQL servers and you can store this on different mailboxes databases, user mailboxes. So enabling Exchange archiving, this is only 3 options, none, and this is when you don't want to archive anything, or IM only, and this will archive IM messages between your users. Okay, and IM and webconf, this will includes the previous one, IM archiving plus web conferencing transcripts will be archived as well. So the option, the command you need to run to enable this archiving feature is from link server side. You need to run set-cs archiving configuration -identity global -enable archiving. You have options here like IAM only or IAM and webconf. It depends on your business requirements. And enable exchange archiving true. So the following types of contents can be archived: peer-to-peer, instant messaging. So for example, if you talk with a conversation with someone and you talking with him in an IAM conversation, you have an option to store this configuration inside your Outlook conversation history folder inside your mailbox. This will not meet the compliance requirement maybe for your company. The user is still free to delete or not to enable this option feature on his clients. But by enabling this option, it's forced by services to store this IAM conversation inside the user himself mailboxes. And I will show you where exactly these data will be stored inside the user mailboxes. Also conferencing meetings, and if it's multi-party instant messaging, like you are in a conference, all of you are typing messages, this information also will be archived, plus the handouts and who joined and transcript about the meeting, who joined, who left, who uploaded, who did what in the conversations, plus the whiteboard and polls results will be also archived as well. Okay. So also if you can enable archiving and you can customize it later by creating many policies. Okay, so you can create many archiving policy for different users. So you don't need to enable archiving for all of your users. For example, you can enable archiving only for a group of users or a certain type of users in your environment. So you can create many policies and you can link these policies with different users. For example, you may need for some users only to archive internal conversations. So if you establish a conversation with external IAM or external users, it will not be archived. Maybe it's not important for you to do it. And maybe for some users, you need to enable archive even for internal and external IAM conversations. So you can create many policies, or you can modify the global one by set-cs archiving policy. Here I'm modifying the global one, but I can use new-cs archiving policy to create more archiving policy and link it to my users later. So as you see here, archive internal, I can use archive internal with a Boolean value true or false, archive external true or false, and here I'm telling link just to enable. This is a global policy. It should be applied for everyone by default. So if you change it, it will reflect on all of your users. But still, as I told you, you can create as many archiving policy with different settings. So now, where actually this archive data will be stored in Exchange? As you know, since Exchange 2010, we have the recoverable items folder, which is a hidden folder inside the user mailboxes. And we have a purges folder, which is not accessible for users, even to delete or modify the contents inside. And if you remember, we use it for single item recovery options in Exchange 2010 and 2013. We use these folders to hide this conversation history inside the user mailbox. And the fact here is, yes, this archived data will be affected by the retention policy you configured on your Exchange mailboxes. So, for example, if you enable the retention period for deleted items on your user mailboxes for 30 days, for example, then this IAM conversation history will stay here only for 30 days and it will be removed. So, as you know, in Exchange 2013, we can do litigation hold policies. So you can do a litigation hold policy to keep this information maybe for a longer time, and it will not be purged or deleted for maybe 1 year if you wanted to keep this history. So to extract this information, you can use, like, for example, you wanted to get as a link admin, okay, or compliance for any compliance requirements or auditing. You may want to export this information, like IAM conversation happened between user X and user Y. You can use some of tools like AWS Editor. Okay, so you can access the user mailbox and open the purchase folder. And as you see here, you can see the conversation history done between users and between others, between this user and others. So you can go and check these conversations and see the contents. Also, of course, as you remember in Exchange 2013, 2010, you can use Exchange Search, Exchange Discovery mailbox. You can export this information and using PowerShell or Exchange Search, and you can read it, you can export it and send it to other mailboxes, for example, your mailbox or other mailboxes, and you can read it easily. So either you can use this tool, or you can use the normal way you use to export items from purged folders or from recoverable items. You should, of course, consider this if your users doing a lot of IAM conversations or conferencing, that this data will be added to your mailbox sizes. So when you do sizing, before, of course, be in production, you should consider if you're going to use Exchange as an archiving solution for Lync, for IAM, you need to consider this in mailbox size calculations. Otherwise, you'll be in problems because your mailbox will keep growing up and you didn't consider that when you design. Okay, so that's about the archiving option now in Exchange Lync. Still, this is an option. So you can use use SQL Server as your archiving database, and or you can go with Exchange archiving. As you see here, searching, for example, if you are a unified communication engineer in your company, searching using Exchange in this way, I think it will be easier, and you can control it more easier than it was in SQL. The second feature here today is about the unified contact store. Of course, you remember the headache that we had before when we have Exchange and Lync, and you create an account or add a contact inside, your Outlook, but you can see this contact in Lync. So you have actually two different locations you maintain your contacts inside, and this will do conflicts. You remove someone from one location, but still you can see it in other locations. Now, what we have in Exchange 2013 and Lync 2013 is we will use Exchange as our unified contact store. All contacts will be stored inside Exchange and the unified contact store. And when you open Lync or OWA or Lync web app, all of this will contact the Exchange server using AWS and get this information from there. So that does mean that we have one central location for contacts now. You can, for example, in Outlook, you open the Outlook, create a new contacts inside a new group, and you will find it automatically reflected in other clients like OWA or Lync clients or Lync web apps. So here, the unified contact store enables users to maintain a single contact list and then have those contacts available in multiple applications, including Lync 2013, Outlook 2013, and of course my Outlook web app 2013. Okay. Actually, this is no special configuration for this option to work. Once you have server-to-server authentication in place and you configure this trusted application, this option is available now, but you need only to make your user to use this option or use this feature. So what we'll do here is no server configuration actually we need, but we need to do some configurations to make sure that users are now moved from double contact store or duplicate contact stores to a single contact store configuration. So what I'm going to do here first is to create a policy, a new CS user service policy, and I can name it allow unified contact store dash unified contact store allow true. Okay, so this is the first policy I created, is to make the UCS allowed. Then I will grant some of my users, or maybe all of my users, these policies. Like grant CS user service policy, and I can type here someone or one username, and I grant this user this policy, the one I just created from a while. Of course, you can use pipeline to assign this policy for all of your users or some of your users. You can filter, and you can link this service policy or this unified contact store policy only for certain users. If you didn't enable for other users, they will use the normal way. They will have two locations to store, one for link and one for exchange. And of course, you can roll back if you test it and you don't find it a good feature for you. You can roll back, but you need to consider some considerations. Once you finish here assigning this user these new policies, you can test. Okay, and this is what actually I like in Lync, that you can test everything now. So you can test -CS unified contact store. You type here the user SIP address, for example this, and -target FQDN. Okay. Okay. And press enter. If it's gave you a success, it does mean that it's now the user his contact store now stored inside the exchange server, not in Lync anymore. If he has any contacts, it will be moved to the UCS in exchange server. So once you apply here, you can wait for minutes and then run the test. You can keep running the test until you give you success, and then you make sure that you successfully moved this user or moved his contacts to exchange UCS. To make sure that this actually running properly, you can open the registry. You can open regedit on your end user, and check if this registry key is in place or not. This registry key is your indication that UCS is configured properly on this for this client. So you open this registry and make sure that this key is there, UCS. And when you open, you should find the value of 21 in UCS mode, and you should find the value of 2165. Here it does mean that now these user contacts are in exchange server UCS. You can test it by open Outlook, for example, and create a new contact. Then you see it from Lync immediately. Okay. Other option also you can use now the new feature is using high resolution photos. Of course, now since Lync 2010 and now Lync 2013, you can add your photos or your users' photos. So when you open an IM with someone or check his presence status from OWA or anywhere, you can see his photo. The problem was that the only option we had is to store this in his in Active Directory, in his thumbnail attributes in Active Directory. So the problem is that we was limited to use only 48 by 48 pixel photos, and this was a limitation by the Active Directory, and it is still a limitation till now for Active Directory thumbnails. So if you wanted to, for example, show this photo in a high, expanding this photo or show it on a large screen, of course the image will not be clear and you will find pixels, and you may need to upload more or high resolution photo for your users, or user can do it by himself. So now what we do is we can store the user photos inside his mailbox and use it for all applications like OWA or for Lync. So because we can now use this exchange mailbox as a store for photo, we can now upload up to 648 by 648 pixel photos. Okay, which this will cost you 265 KB per photo, which is in exchange, it's not a big deal for each user to have this to upload his photo. And exchange will be very smart. if you want to share this photo with different applications to do resizing. So, for example, if you upload your photo on Exchange, Exchange needs to send this for Active Directory thumbnails. So it will not, Exchange will not send the 648 pixel photo to the Active Directory, of course, but it will do resizing and send Active Directory what he actually waiting for, 48 by 48 pixel. Okay, so Exchange will handle this. When Exchange wanted to send the photo for application, we'll check what is the maximum size available for this Active Directory. It will be 48, or for other Lync 2013 and OWA or Lync web apps, you can use higher photo resolutions. Also, user can upload his own photo. He can open OWA, for example, and from OWA options, he can upload his photo and he can see it anywhere after. Admins can do it also from the server side. They can upload photos for the users or on behalf of the users. So what we need to do is to read this and assign to a parameter, for example, like here, read from the GPG file from your local disk and set the user photo, for example, this user, picture photo, and confirm, and you need to run this command as well, is to save this photo. Running the first command only, it will be uploaded to the user, but it will not be showed for everyone, even for the user himself. But you need to run the third command as well, -save, to make sure that this photo is now available for other users to see. So of course, you will not do it one by one for each user. It will be a headache if you have 1,000 or 10,000 users in your environment. You can use some kind of scripting if you are aware how to use PowerShell scripts, or I can share some scripts with you. If you need, you can send me email and I can share you some techniques you can use to just create a folder with all of your high resolution photos, and how you can import it automatically into different user accounts using OneShot. Administrator, to make sure that these photos are uploaded successfully to Exchange server, he can access this URL for each user. Okay, admin only can use it. Okay, he can just click on this URL. Just you change here the username and email or his email address, and then you will be able to see his photo on your Internet Explorer, for example. And this is you make sure that the photo is uploaded successfully to Exchange server. Okay. So the last option we have here today we talk about is integrating OWA with Lync server. This option is not new. Okay, I tell you it comes since 2010, but you may have here some new feature, like from OWA you can create a new Lync meetings. But you can do here that from OWA, if you open only OWA, you can sign in to your IM and you can change your presence status, and it will reflect to anyone who added you as a contact. And you can see your contacts. These contacts actually coming now from the UCS store, from Exchange, and you can see the presence of these contacts. Also, and groups as well, and you can start an IM conversation with one of your contacts just from OWA, and you don't need to install Lync clients on your machine. So to make this available, okay, or to integrate OWA with the Lync server, you need to create a trust application pool for OWA inside your Lync server. As you know, in Exchange 2013, we have front end, what we call now CAS, and the back end server. The backend server should have all rules, since 2010 installed on one box, and in front-end server it acts as a proxy for services and different protocols. If you still have the option to collocate the front-end with the back-end server, and we call this all-in-one solution. If you add, or if you in your environment, if you have one all-in-one solution, You don't need to do this step. You can just ignore this step, creating a trusted application pool, but only with one condition, that you already have UM in place, so you must have SIP name dial plan assigned for this server, the backend server. If you have a dial plan assigned for your backend server and you are in all-in-one, Lync will do this trusted application automatically by using the auto-discover service. So Lync will use auto-discover service, will see that you have a dial plan SIP name assigned to one of your mailbox server, and it will see that it's all-in-one. Automatically it will add it. Otherwise, you need to do these steps. If you have the front end, because the front end, you know that the front end has the unified messaging core router service, and this is actually the problem. If you have the unified messaging core router service and unified messaging service installed on one server, all in one, and you have the SIP name dial plan assigned for the server, you don't need to do the trust. In the scenario that you don't have all in one, you have the unified messaging core router service installed on the front end and unified messaging service on your back end. You need to do this step to create the CS trusted application pool. So first you run this command, new-CS trusted application pool, okay, and here you type your OWA URL, okay, dash registrar. Okay, and your front-end pool URL site, and here type the site name and requires replication false. Okay, and once you created a new trusted application pool, you will create a new trusted application and assign it inside the trusted application pool you created here. So the second step is to create a new trusted application, new-CS trusted application, and the application ID is OWA, our Outlook web app, and the fully qualified domain name of this is your OWA URL, and here you define the port number you will use for this. Port 5199 is default. Once you finish, you need to make sure that this trusted application is reflected to all of your front-end pools or services. You need to enable CS topology. Run this from your Lync server. Enable -CS topology, and now you propagated these new changes and this new trusted application pool to your topology CMS. Okay. Now we finished the server-to-server configuration. Now what we need to do is to configure the virtual directories on Exchange server to allow IAM. So what we do here is get -OWA virtual directory. This will get all of my virtual directory, and we'll apply these changes just after the pipeline. Set -OWA virtual directory enable instant messaging enable true, and instant messaging type is OCS. By default, the value of instant messaging type is null. So you make sure that you type it as it is. Okay, you make sure that you type here OCS as instant messaging type. Once you finish here, you need to visit your backend servers. Okay, we can say mailbox servers or backend servers. You need to open the web.config file, where you can find this here inside OWA virtual OWA directory, and you open web.config file and add these two lines. Here you tell Exchange server the thumbprint for your certificate, which is the self-signed certificate already created when you install your backend server. You can just get the Exchange certificate from PowerShell in Exchange, and you can get this thumbprint value. You add this the first line, thumbprint the value for your backend certificates, and the second line is add key IAM server name and the application pool, the front end pool for your Lync front end pool name here. Okay, so let's review what we discussed today. Okay, now we know that installing Exchange server with 2013 and Lync 2013 will give you more capabilities and features you can use as an integration. For example, as we discussed, using Unified Contact Store, you're using archiving option. You can archive data now on the user mailboxes, IM conversations, meeting transcripts. Also, you can upload now high-resolution photos on your mailbox servers. You can, of course, now integrate, it's, as I told you, it's coming from before, but you can now use IM conversation from OWA by integrating OWA with Exchange server, with Lync server. So we have time now for questions. If you have questions, please use your Q&A and ask. Yes, we are recording this. We're recording this meeting, and I'm not quite sure if it will be available for public or not. Let me check. Yes, good news. We will share this with you. Okay, link will be available. You can download this session later. Yes, from the blog, you can you will be able to download these recorded sessions. Yes, Mohammed is asking what the feature difference between Lync 2010 OWA integration and the 2013. Actually, you can do the same like before, but now if you remember, if you have Outlook, Office Outlook on your machine and Lync installed on your machine, you'll find some buttons available, add-ons on your Outlook. You can start Lync meetings, for example, establish a Lync meeting or create a Lync meeting immediately from your Outlook. You can now do something like that from OWA as well. It was not there before. But see, from OWA you can do everything like in Exchange. And also, by the way, you can integrate Exchange 2013, Lync 2013 with Exchange 2010 as well. Okay, so if you still have Exchange 2010, you install 2013, you can integrate them, but you're not using all features, of course. You will be able only to do just IM conversations and see presence. Mohammed, did I ask you your question? Okay, guys, any more questions? Okay, Mohammed has a question about Skype integration with Lync 2013. Yes, you can. It's not about integration, of course. It is not covered in the topic today. But yes, you can. You can enable public IM for or federate with other companies' Lync servers. Yes, you can chat with IM. Okay, but it is some limitation, of course. For example, you can't do video chat with Skype users. Good news is that if you have O365, you can integrate O365 with, or you can federate O365 with Skype. Okay, so nothing new. Okay, so also if you have any questions or you're experiencing any problems or issues when you start doing your integration, or if you have more questions regarding the topic today, feel free to send me email. It's mdawy@microsoft.com, mdawy@microsoft.com. Okay, and also don't forget to follow up our GPS MIA portal and add the Facebook account and follow the Facebook account to see to be aware with the incoming sessions we do for free for you guys. And I hope that you find this session useful for you, fruitful with information and knowledge. And I'm waiting for your questions on mail and hope to see you again. Thank you very much for attending and being with me today. Bye.